Hey, this is Kirk Hilliard.
It's Rusty Bird, too, with the Kirk and Bird Show, man. It's football season, and we are finally really back. Now, we love the spring, we love the winter, but we know what say. Like it's like ESPN. Everybody knows once it's football season, if it's ESPN, you got to talk Dallas Cowboys. If it's the Kirk and Bird Show, we got to talk Freedom Woodbridge. All right, that's the team everybody loves or they love to hate. All right, and we got the main man here. We have the architect. We have not just the Jerry Jones, the head coach. We got the GM. We got the president of Freedom Woodbridge High School. We've got Coach Darryl Overton. They are the defending Class 6 state champions. He is the architect of the team that broke like off the chart offensive records this past season. Woo! And they did it with a very, very young team. Again, I want to welcome a guy who has definitely earned my respect, but getting it done, Coach Darryl Overton of Freedom Woodbridge. Thank you for joining us, Coach.
Man, I appreciate you. As always.
You got it done. But also, I want to go ahead and introduce Jay Golson, back for another year on Prince William County football, but he's also the voice of Freedom Woodbridge football and basketball. Welcome to the show, Jay.
Well, thanks for having me.
Jay Golson is in real estate. He's so good that if you're not buying a house over $5 million, don't bother calling.
Don't call me.
Yeah, call Jay. Jay will take care of you. He is a great people. We'll stand by him. We know him personally. And real quick, before we get into everything, Coach Overton, congratulations. Great year. We had an episode wrapping things up, and they asked me, who's my coach of the year? I picked you out of all those teams. Unbelievable job that you did. Want to ask everybody to help us out. Subscribe on YouTube. You can look at us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and then if you want to listen to us in the car, we're going to give you analysis of local talent that you're not going to get anywhere else. Audible, Spotify, Apple, and Google. So help us out and please subscribe.
Yeah, Coach. So we're going to talk about what this coming season, but we cannot go on without getting your perspective on this past season. And before you do, I will tell you this. I've said it a number of times. Jay Golson, I sat up in that PA booth and we watched you scrimmage the Matha. I was like, Jay, they're gonna be special this year. Like this. When I saw that, I told him, I was like, this the year. If they're gonna ever do it, they're gonna do it. And from that day until I was at ODU and I was calling the game on radio for Prince William Sports Entertainment, you got it done, bro, in a big way. So let's talk about last year. What are your thoughts on that historic run?
Well, obviously, like you said, it was special. It kind of puts an exclamation point, on your program and what you be doing to get a state championship, where I felt like for a long time we've been really good. We just kept getting tripped up somewhere along the way. It's years that, we made it, did the state championship, and then there were years where, we were 12-1 and we lost, and people talked about it like we were sorry. So kind of just put an exclamation point on what you was doing. And then to do it, like you said, in dominating fashion. Again, like you said, made it even more special. The reason that stuff made it special is because the kids were able to achieve all their individual goals and success and accolades as well. And then, like you said, to be, I remember looking at that post. One of the things that I'll always remember from it is being the All-Met Coach of the Year, because, looking in that paper, seeing that since you was young, that probably, that part of it meant a lot to me, probably more so than like the state coach of the year district is being in that that photo of that All-Met. But like you said, it was great. To be honest, it was a lot of fun as well. So, I did it with a lot of people, that I love. So it was great. And like you said, the kids, all the stats and stuff just helped the kids out on their individual goals and stuff. So that always make it even more sweeter.
And Coach, also, how do you also keep egos in check? You have a lot of talent, but how do you keep them in check all year long, keeping them focused?
Well, it's not about, like you said, the great thing about us is, excuse me, we compete. So you necessarily don't got to keep them in check and focus as far as the game, because that's what makes us good. They're such competitors. Like, if you watch us practice versus each other, you would be like, what is wrong with some of those guys? But the thing that you got to do is, like, it's not necessarily, keep the egos in check. I tell people all the time, like, being a head coach is like more so about managing personalities. So you just got to know how to feed people's egos, when it needs to. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not about keeping them in check. It's about boosting them up. You know what I mean? The ego up. And one thing about freedom, as far as football, school, everything, it's not going to let you get too big headed now.
Yeah, that's true.
It's our school, and it's going to humble you. It ain't going to let you get too big headed. I mean, that goes from coaches, players, everybody. So you don't necessarily got to keep egos in check. You might got to figure out how to feed egos and make sure guys know that they're important to what you're doing, regardless of the success, whether that be, getting them the ball in certain situations, whether it be, just hollering at a dude after practice in the office and telling them, or, when everybody leaves, they ask me for all the Gatorades and stuff in my fridge, and I never give it to them because it's too many people, one day giving a kid one. You know what I'm saying? So it's just making sure everybody understands that they're important to what you're doing, more so it is keeping the egos in check. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's making everybody feel like they're a part of it and they got some type of contribution to it. I tell people all the time, when you got good talent, it's my job to figure out how to get everybody the ball.
Yeah, that's true.
Coach, I was just going to point out, and we want to transition into your current team, and how they're looking after a couple of weeks of camp and a scrimmage. But you had a lot of naysayers out there. The people from Richmond, and especially the 757, saying Northern Virginia is soft. And, us being from there and being here for 32 years, I can take them some places down Route 1. They're not going to think it's soft. What I want to say, though, is that starting this year, you earn the respect of those people in Chesapeake and Richmond, Thomasdale, some of those programs, but you've got something for this season with this squad where you've got Highland Springs coming up to 6, one of the state's elite programs with Lauren Johnson. So tell us about your team, how it's going now, because Jay was talking about how do you keep egos in check, over a long season. Well, you've got something there. I'm not saying that you want to look that far into the future, but that's something to say, hey, if we want to repeat. So how is the team looking? We know a lot about your team. We've interviewed some of the kids. How's the team looking after a couple of weeks, Coach?
Well, so far, they've looked good. The good thing when you bring back a team that returned a lot, we returned 8 guys on both sides of the ball. The thing that's been different is getting the second group of guys ready.
You got 16 and 22 starters back. Woo, I'm sorry. Man.
Yeah. So I've been on the coaches about getting the young guys ready. So the guys that are going to replace some of the guys that we have. We have a lot of good depth this year, which we haven't had at times in the years past.
Okay, yeah.
I thought we had to replace Adrian Crespin at right tackle and Armand, who those guys, have been 3-year starters for us. So, replacing their mental knowledge of what to do with line calls is a little tough, but we're going to replace, Bussy a step in, Justice Robinson. And then on the other side, you'll have Jamal Gibbs and Maui Talehi, who's a kid that transferred in to us from DeMatha. So we got those guys to step in up front and try to fill those roles. On the defensive side, you got to replace TJ and you got to replace Kendall and Nasir Etherington. And you can't really replace TJ with one guy. So we got Trey Adams, Kelly Timon, a group of guys that we think going to fill out that D-line. You bring back Jewel Harris up there, who was second team All-State. So, we've been looking good from an execution standpoint. Again, like I said, we've been really focusing on getting the next group of guys up to speed, so that, and people like I tell the coaches, it's not always for just next year the game. It's to be able to practice at a high level. Like, we need those guys up to speed so that we can get better every week. So they can't play fast if they don't know what they're doing. So it's kind of been a new thing. Like you said, you're coming back with a group of guys. We could have played a game, the first day we practiced with that first group of guys. You know what I mean? But it's the other group of guys that's got to help you get better all year that you got to get up to speed. Because if they can't help you get better, then it'll hurt you in the long run.
And how is Tristan come along, the quarterback? Tristan and Caleb.
Man, well, Tristan is, Tristan, man, he's special in his approach to things that he does. Continues to, be impressive. He was second year in a row. He was the highest vote getter for team captain. So he's made some strides as far as some of his physical attributes, which is always a good thing. He's, if you've seen him this weekend, he's a bigger kid than he was last year in stature. Caleb has been physically talented. He's starting to mature mentally and take some steps in the right direction as far as, his mental approach and attitude every day. His leadership stuff, where they kind of, Tristan is like the embodiment of intangibles and being a good quarterback. And Caleb is kind of like the physical anomaly that needs to continue to grow into his intangibles. But he's taken a lot of great strides in that department this year. So they're both looking good so far.
That's good.
One of the things I I thought the keys to your success last year was you have outstanding coaches, you have outstanding players, but I thought you put it all together last year. But one of the two things I thought that really put you over the edge is one, TJ Bush. He was an amazing player, leader, could totally dominate a game from the defensive side of the ball. But the other thing, and I think you've already kind of addressed this, is you guys were blessed to go relatively injury-free at some key positions. I was gonna say, one of the things people never really want to factor in is injuries. They'll say, oh, they didn't have a good year, but then they're like, oh, but Dak Prescott wasn't there, or this, if he wasn't there, you got to consider some of those things. But go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, so like you said, it's good thing is we got a lot of guys with experience that played a lot because of how we were winning last year. It's I tell people like, some of our coaches are spoiled because this all they ever seen is 4 Division I receivers and a Division I running back. You know what I mean? And I try to tell them like that's not normal. Even here we've been really good, but we never had 4 Division I receivers and a Division I running back at the same time.
Yeah.
We got another transfer from Highland Springs, kid named Antonio. Yep, he's only a sophomore. Played for them
what's his last
year.
name, Coach? Antonio, what was it?
I don't want to say the wrong name.
Okay, we'll look him up. Sorry about
he played JV last year for Highland Springs as a freshman. Mm-hmm. He's another guy that's going to be a slot guy for us that can do some impressive things with the ball. DJ Moore, who, if you didn't watch us last year on the JV level, he's pretty talented. He carried our JV team for the most part last year. Being explosive, whether a receiver and quarterback, he did it all. And then we have Raymond Rodriguez, and he plays receiver and safety as well. I feel like really the 4 guys that we have at receiver after our 4 guys we started every school in our area.
Yeah,
and I mean that. Not even saying it like disrespectful. Nobody they're really that good. They're really that good. Like. DJ would be a all district player anywhere else. Antonio has that same type of ability. And like you said, it's important to get those guys going because like you said, knock on wood, like you said, everybody got to stay healthy. But like you said, you want to make sure that you got quality guys. So they might not be as special right now as some of those guys that are in front of them. But they're pretty daggone good football players, and they'll be able to do some things.
Man, Coach, how about special teams? I just want to, Rusty, I want to get that in because if you punting, kicking, if you get in some tight games, you didn't have any last year, but that can be big with punting and kicking and your return game. How are special teams looking for Freedom Woodbridge?
So in a good way, our special teams been good, punting and all that stuff, punt return, kickoff, kick return. We kind of got to get our field goal extra point deal together. You know what I mean? We really don't have a ideal kicker right now.
Right.
So that's something that we trying to work kinks out on. Honestly, EJ's been doing it. Reed,
Wow.
he punts for us really well. He's been doing extra points. EJ's kind of like that guy for us. You know, he's committed to Wake Forest now. But he also played quarterback. He plays quarterback too.
I remember.
Yeah, he told us. He was on our show.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So EJ plays quarterback as well. So, you know, we got him doing extra points. But other than that, the rest of the special teams, you know, I feel really good about them. The way we do 2-a-days, so our second practice is just special teams and focus periods. So we get all the special teams done in the second practice, and then like focus mean like we might focus on all our trips pass plays, or we might focus on pass pro versus blitz out of even front. You know, it's something that we pointing out. So we kind of get a jump start on special teams because that's all we do our second practice of 2-a-days.
You know, a lot of people, when they talk about special teams, they're just thinking about the kicking game. But one of the things you guys do very well is your return game, whether it's punt return, kickoff return. Like I mean, you have some special athletes, don't get me wrong, but I can tell you've got talent on the field. You know, that's not just a place you're just putting people out there to get them on the field. Like you've got talent out there, and it's extremely well coached because I mean, again, you got talent, but some guys are running and they don't look like they're gonna get touched. So that shows you've put a lot of effort into the return game, which is huge. And I saw last year when teams thought, okay, here we go, they just scored, we back in this, and then y'all kickoff return right back, and it just deflates them, and it's a wrap after that. So yeah, it shows. It shows, Coach.
It's like you said, like, you know, it was I feel like early in my career, it was a weakness, like my special team stuff. So I tell people, like, you got to surround people with that. That's their strength. So, like, that's why I picked up Coach Barron Taylor, right? So I sent out, like, advertising, like, I need a special team coach. And he sent me, like, the 8-page PowerPoint. And I was like,
that's it.
I was like,
that would be better.
I was like, you hired. I was like, you hired. So, you know, with that, I kind of just get out his way and kind of talk to him about as far as personnel, the reasons why we want somebody on it or why we don't, based off of like, you know, that kid is starting on JV. You don't want to waste a quarter, put them on the varsity special team. You get what I'm saying? But other than that, I stay out his way, man, and let him do his magic. So we've gotten better there because, you know, that's his passion. He does a great job with it.
And Coach, good question. I was doing the media day, had some Garfield players talking trash. Now, as a coach, how do you handle that with your team when another team say, yeah, we're going to shut them down, we can't wait to play them, you know, we're ready for them? How do you handle as a coach? How do you handle your players on that?
I mean, the thing about it is I like the competitiveness of it, okay? I do, like, I really do. But the issue becomes when, all right, so people do that on the internet and they say they want this, but then when the kids say something back, our kids, you know, they're screenshotting it, the AD sending it in, and they making it seem like
you know, as long as you keep it like above board.
Man,
you know?
I know, but this is stuff that really happens, and they say we cyberbullying, like literally accuse us of that. Seriously, man. So
it's football.
That's my only thing.
You gotta bully people on football, man. That's what it's about.
A lot of people. That's what like aggravates me about that, because a lot of those teams do all that stuff, and behind closed doors they complain. You know what I mean? They complain and do all the other things. But anyway, as far as the kids, you know, I don't mind because it's gonna make I don't have to worry about us sleepwalking when you're doing stuff like that. Like the kids gonna get up for the challenge.
There you go.
But I just hate the backside of it with all the crime that people do.
I feel you. So, Coach, we're gonna wrap this up here, but I got two questions. One observation, and then we're gonna get your thoughts on. And one is, you have an extremely difficult, tough schedule, and you've packed this thing, bro, with some teams. Like I'm sitting here, You can't nobody say nothing. You're going into DC, you're gonna play Coolidge. You're going down to get one of the best out of the 804 in Verina. You going to PG, not just PG Public, but you going to PG WCAC DeMatha. It ain't a scrimmage. I was just talking to somebody the other day, a parent of a DeMatha athlete, and they were like, well, no, that scrimmage wasn't that big of a deal. We didn't really care. I was like, no, they was trying. I said, so now you get to do it in a real game situation. And then, of course, the rivalries you have. St. Michael too, a private school, and then the rivalries in the Cardinal district. So I want to praise you for giving that tough schedule, because those teams, especially 757. Only thing I wish last year is that Oscar Smith could have made it to play y'all in the semis. But tell us a little bit about that schedule, and then the last thing we want to know is, how does Coach Darryl Overton define a successful season? At the end of 2023, how would you define success?
Yeah, well, like you said, the scheduling part is, you got to play the best. And the way today's PowerPoint, the system is set up, so if you're not playing the best, that makes no sense, because it doesn't hurt you. It only helps you competition-wise. Secondly, I care about my kids after this. So if I want my kids to continue to get recruited, continue to put out D1 players, you have to continue to generate film that college coach is going to look at. College coach is not going to look at you playing a school and it look like bad football.
Yeah.
So that's my job, to make sure my kids don't miss those opportunities and continue to create them. So I'm going to always make sure we play a good schedule, because like you said, that's what colleges want to see. They want to see good football and good football players versus other good football players. And then, like you said, to be honest, a successful season, again, obviously is winning the state championship. That's always going to be the standard. But, to do it again and get in that class of the elite of the Phoebuses, the Highland Springs, the Stonebridges, the teams that Oscar Smith that's done it back to back, would be special. Obviously, we know nothing ain't promised to us. But again, we also feel like with better teams coming into the region, with Highland Springs, even the established schools, Mountain View, Colonial Forge.
Our region got tougher.
Yeah. Playing this type of schedule just get you ready for that. You know what I mean? Just get you ready for that, and make your team better in the long run.
Excellent.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for joining us. Look, for y'all that don't know, Coach Overton has done some great things, not just on the football field, but also in the community at Thanksgiving. He leads Playmakers Elite PME. He's out here in this community. Coach, do you have anything that you want to say or promote? I'll let you do that now. If there's anything you want to say.
Oh, man, nothing but, love and prosperity. And this, my girls' basketball team at Freedom, we was close last year.
Yeah.
This year,
yeah.
Hey, this year, my daughter's there now.
Oh,
we got a piece from Brentsville, Savannah Price.
Oh,
is now here with us. We coming, girls basketball too. We coming this year.
That's what I wanted to hear. Something that nobody was expecting. Kurt?
I was just going to say a teaser. Coach, make sure we're going to record a statewide preview with Matt Hatfield of Virginia Preps, Danny Lewis of Virginia Preps that knows all about Richmond, and Jay's going to be on it, and somebody else that really knows the Southwest Virginia. So here's the clip. Look at where this is in the timing. I'm going to go ahead of time, and I'm going to pick Freedom Woodbridge to win Class 6 over Highland Springs. So our buddy Harry Lee Daniel, the athletic director down at Highland Springs, coach and staff, that's a challenge for you. It's bulletin board material, and kids come up to me and tell me when I'm wrong. So, hey, and that's pressure on your kids, Coach. So we're going to see you, ODU, holding that trophy.
Appreciate y'all. And like you said, anybody watching, like and subscribe. Like you said, man, y'all, all three of you gentlemen, but the Kirk and Bird show, y'all kind of spearheaded this whole, eyeballs and spotlight on high school football that kind of everybody jumping the wave. So everybody like and subscribe, share it, send it to somebody, tell them like and subscribe.
Hey, man, thank you, Coach. Look, I really appreciate it. And for those that don't know, Coach Overton, again, the Freedom is like the Dallas Cowboys. Like, when he's on, we get big ratings. Like, Coach Overton has the single highest views
Coach,
of any coach in Kirkenberg history. Like, you got, I don't know, 600-800, like, unbelievable response to whenever coach is on. And so I want y'all to continue that. Anything freedom is always good, man. And again, I appreciate you being on the show and the way you promote and you support us. Like, when I'm on your sideline after the game, after state championship, man, I just feel the love. And so I appreciate that, especially having been a parent of a child at another school and also coaching against you in other situations. But Jay, thank you for being on here. If y'all don't know, Jay is the proprietor and leader of our Prince William, the real Prince William County Sports. The real. All right, so check him out and follow him on there. All right, Kirk, anything else?
No, I'm excited. Jay says it's like an HBCU experience down there. I'm sorry I haven't been, but I will be down there. I have high expectations for the music. I know I'm going to see a great team.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Thank you.
All right, so for my man, Coach Darryl Overton, Jay Golson, and my co-host Kirk here, this has been the Kirkenberg Show. We are out.